little bit in there just to coat the bottom of the pot. And that was a large onion and 6 cloves of garlic. I'm going to turn my heat down to low. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but my heat was at medium just to heat up that olive oil. And the other thing we need to put in there, and this is totally up to you all, but I like a bit of Scotch Bonnet pepper in there as well. So that's 1 small Scotch Bonnet pepper that's just sliced in half. In goes some fresh ground black pepper. And the reason why we turn the heat down is so that the garlic doesn't burn. There's enough moisture there from the onion to prevent it from burning. But while this happens in the pot here, what I went ahead and did, and I have 2 pounds of baby spinach. Traditionally in the Caribbean, when this is done, we use dasheen bush leaves or taro leaves, which is my favorite. This is just a substitute and a good substitute at it, but I washed my baby spinach and I'll show you now how to chop it up. Basically gonna grab a bunch of the washed spinach like so, and you're gonna put it into a tight sort of log as best as you can. You may have seen me do this before, but all we want to do is nice and thin, and the thinness will help us give us that or replicate the sort of texture you would get. Now you don't need to chop it up. By all means, no, you don't need to chop it up. But what I'm trying to achieve is the same sort of melted sort of texture. And ladies and gentlemen, this will not be a pretty dish, but I'm telling you, when I talk about simple and tasty, so you see the ribbons that I have here? That will help us to replicate the sort of melt down sort of, when at the end you'll see what I'm talking about. So if I were using dasheen bush leaves, it would give us the same sort of texture. Only will take about 3 minutes or so. You start seeing the little dark golden edges there. We don't want to burn anything. So here's where now we will add the chopped spinach to the pot. Just gonna hit that a quick little stir like so, and it's gonna pile up. It's gonna look like a lot, but as it cooks, it will wilt down, and I guarantee you all of it will fit in here. So I'm gonna continue chopping and adding. What I like doing at this point though is giving it a good stir to get that garlic and onion and Scotch bonnet pepper flavor all, yeah man, everybody's up inside it. Time for some salt, and I like using sea salt. You can adjust the salt later on, but for now we want about half a teaspoon of salt in there. Later on we will taste it and adjust it. That is 2 tablespoons of coconut cream. If you don't have pure coconut cream like I have there, you can always use about half cup of coconut milk. That is a key ingredient to this. And you know, this dish, not only is it gluten-free and vegan and vegetarian, and if you hold back on the salt, it could be ITAL as well. If you wanted to add shrimp in there, boom. If you wanted to add salted cod in there, boom. I'm telling you, man, smoked meats. Now, if you want to really get fancy, you could toss some okra in there too. As it wilts down, just gonna tuck the coconut milk in there. It was in the fridge, and that is why it's a bit hard. But all of that is gonna melt down. If you want to speed up the process, you can put the lid on there and let it sort of steam cook, and it's just gonna wilt down completely. At no point did I have the lid on, and you notice how much liquid is there. We really want to, and that's the key to this dish, is burning out all of that liquid, and then it's gonna have a concentrated flavor with the garlic, the onion, the Scotch bonnet pepper, and of course the spinach. How we call this is Bhaji, and it is from the East Indian indentured laborers who call the Caribbean home. They would have brought this recipe, and I mean, they say it would have been edited and everything else over the past couple hundred years that it's been in the Caribbean. But for now, a little patience. We're cooking that down. My heat is on medium high, and we want to burn off all that liquid. And this is why I said it's not a pretty dish, because that's going to burn down and it's going to become, you gotta see. The smell in the kitchen here takes me back to my childhood days in the Caribbean. It's been about 25 minutes and notice most if not all of that liquid has gone. What we're trying to do now is get back to the oil that we started off with. And if you give it just a slight char, we don't want to burn it, we want just a slight char, very close to char basically. The flavor will be even more intense. And remember that coconut milk that we put in there is full of vegetable fats in there, tasty vegetable fats. So we're going to start seeing that oil on the bottom there. So let's a little more patience. And notice when I said it's going to cook down and it's going to be all mushy and everything else. If this was dashing bush bhaji, it would be like a paste almost. And this is why it's hard for me to describe to you all. Unfortunately, while I do get dashing bush bhaji here in Canada, the quality isn't the same. And it doesn't cook down. It's, you know, it's a waste of time and rather expensive. So I'm not going to waste time and money. It's been another 5 minutes. I turned up the heat just a little bit more, and you can see all of that liquid is gone. And if we pull everything over, you'll see that sort of little charring that happening down there, that little area there. That is what we want. That sort of golden niceness, that Maillard effect there, man. I'm telling you, it's real niceness here, yeah? Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie? Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure having you all here in the kitchen with me. Vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free. Leave out the salt. I'm telling you all, you gotta give this one a try. We used baby spinach, we gave it a good rinse, and we add a ton of flavor to it, and we gave it that sort of nice Caribbean Trinbagonian Bhaji effect. Irie, I'm going and talking with a little sada roti there. Serve sada roti on CaribbeanPot.com and organize. Turn up the stove, do your thing.